Ranger Reject 147 is here, and wow, this was an action-packed chapter. The one thing I've definitely noticed in regards to Negi though, even the most action-based chapters are filled to the brim with information that's super important to the plot. It never fails, and chapter 147 is no different. Like, what's going on with the Death Messiah? How is Urabe going to actually react to D? Well, let's jump in and talk about it. As always though, if you enjoy Ranger Reject, why not like the video and subscribe? I make these chapter discussions for each chapter, and I do character analysis videos for Ranger Reject characters. Chapter 147 starts with D hiding out, trying to find the best way out of the situation while everyone is still looking for him. The interesting part about this is that he's having a semi-discussion with himself to figure out what to do next. But it isn't necessarily with himself, labeled as his heart's death messiah. This is who D is discussing his plans with on what to do next. This has me interested though. Is this just a way to label D's internal monologue, or is this a part of the death messiah that's still within him? This is the first that we're seeing of him, and the options he suggests seems to be in direct contradiction with D as a character and D's actual thoughts. So it's a bit strange to assume this is strictly just D talking to himself. An incident does occur later in the chapter that I think might influence what happens next with this. If this is how the Death Messiah hangs around from now on, I'm fine with that. He seems to now hold the role of D's self-preservation, and it'll be nice to see that. Basically, he suggests the best ways for D to escape, none of which D actually thinks will work. The first is to form a disguise, which D can't do at the moment because of his wounds. The second is to return to the Sky Fortress, which he can't do because of the Blue Battalion. And the third is to ride the air currents to escape. D also refuses this. He turns down this option because this is the third time he's been in pretty much this exact situation, and we all know what happens with that. Let's look back to when Sakurama saved him from Hikaru. D came back just to save Sakurama, and this is probably what that thought process looked like minus the Death Messiah. But in this case, it's Hisui and Usakubo who are protecting him. We then move over to Noah, who's being told where D currently is. She complains about going after him because it's her day off, which, so real, I feel that. But she's told that Dragon Keepers don't get days off and that she has to actually suit up. She brings up the fact that the TV crew will be there and that she'd rather die than be on camera, which, as we'll soon come to learn, it's pretty close to the truth. This seems to be a pretty big part of her character, which I think has a pretty easy resolution. While she may be the Pink Keeper, while she's in the suit, no one can actually see her. I think she'll eventually come to terms with that, and it'll help her resolve her stage fright issue. We jump back to D, who has now left the alley he was hiding in as he narrowly avoids being discovered by two members of the Ranger Force. He makes his way to a bridge that's currently closed and under construction. D wonders if he should just swim to avoid the construction, but through the Death Messiah, we learn that apparently water poses a bigger risk to invaders. I don't think this is indicating that the invaders are weak to water in any way. I just think it's saying that the foot soldiers don't have any advantages to being in the water. So if he was discovered while there, it wouldn't be good for him. D, however, takes that advice and tries to conjure up his normal human disguise. Obviously, by the earlier discussion, it's not possible to make it fully convincing, but it works well enough for the most part. As he gets to the other side of the bridge, he realizes that there's a line of Red Rangers who are trying to search the bridge, but the workers aren't letting them through. Out of all of them though, Rinrin, one of the now Red Rangers who was an unranked ranger with D, notices him. Whether it's the fact that she notices his disguise, or just the fact that he's suspicious, we don't know yet. As D's face begins to crack more, an old man thinks he's just sick and tries to get him to a hospital. Looks like it's more of a liability reason than just being a kind Samaritan though. As they pass through the Red Rangers, we get another weird look from Rinrin, but it doesn't appear that she's caught on yet. Switching back to Noah, we get a conversation between her and Intan. Before we talk about that though, I do want to point out that yes, this chapter does keep flipping back and forth between the perspective of D and Noah. I honestly feel like Negi is continuing to set her up as a more and more important character. We'll just have to see where he takes that. In this conversation though, we find out that Noah still hasn't undergone the compatibility surgery, so she still isn't able to utilize divine weapons, only replicas. Because of that, Intan has to use her divine tool in order to find Dee's location, similar to what she did to find Shigeoka in a previous chapter. With that though, they're able to find Dee, and Noah speeds off in a flash, pulling him off of the old man and getting ready to finish him off until she notices the camera there. This causes her to freeze due to her stage fright, and Dee is once again able to escape. As he's running away though, the leg that the Death Messiah gave him gets shot off and he falls into a canal. I'll go ahead and mention it now, but we do not see him recover his leg in this chapter. This is what I meant towards the beginning of the chapter though. If that was the Death Messiah talking to him, it would mean that now he's separated from him. So, is that inner monologue just going to disappear in the same chapter that it started? I don't think so. I think the secret weapon that the Death Messiah mentioned when he gave him the leg is going to activate soon. At the moment though, I see it more as a better heal. What's the best thing the Death Messiah could give him? Healing. Now I know he's already got that, but hear me out. Being able to heal blows from divine weapons would be a huge power boost for Dee outside of just getting stronger. It also feels like something that Negi would do for Dee as a character. Moving on from that though, Rinrin chases Dee into the canal, but we see that Shippo is already there about to deliver the final blow. Rinrin immediately recognizes the voice, but before either of them can deliver the final blow to Dee, he hears a voice telling him to roll into the water. The chapter ends with the boat speeding away, and we get to see the long-awaited reunion between Urabe and Dee. To point at his final line though, I see this as a two-part message. Urabe says, "It's been a while, foot soldier Dee," which obviously the last time they actually met up was in the Green Keeper arc when Dee was with Suzukiri going after the Green Keeper. But I do think that Urabe has figured out that this is who he got to know during Beilong's Nest. I'm curious to see how this goes, and to be fair, this is definitely a part of Sakurama's plan. Runa was a part of the game, so she didn't know not to go after Dee. Shippo had left before he could get information from Sakurama. So everyone else who was there has probably been instructed to protect Dee, or at least I hope that's the case. For the first time though, I'm actually stumped for where this might go next. Will the Ranger Force continue to chase Dee as they have to try to make their escape? Is this the point where Dee defects to the Neo Rangers? I don't think that's the case, but I guess we'll have to find out in the next chapter, because at this point, I have no idea. As always though, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. Otherwise, peace.